We are
Yeah.
welcome to a return of the exponential economy. Mark Condell.
Yep. And Kevin McCabe, and
Uh,
we are here to talk about all things exponential or
yes,
potentially exponential.
potentially exponential. And
Yep.
today we have a very exponential topic: Robotaxi cleaning services.
That's right.
That is our exponential because it's pressing. If you're going to have an exponential service, you got to think of the back end. Got to
Yeah.
think of the core components to it.
Yeah.
So
So, I mean, lots to talk about FSD, lots of fanboys and girls out there excited about it, thinking it's coming this year, next year, and maybe it is. But I think the robo taxi idea, network idea, has a lot more logistics involved in it than probably lots are thinking about. I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Um, but we both watched the video of Dave Lee with, was it Mark Smith?
Matt Smith.
Matt Smith.
Yes.
That's right. Who's bullish on the Robotaxi idea, put in his order for 21 cyber trucks.
Yes.
And I'd like to talk about that too. But he seemed to have thought through it a little bit. But I still think that there's points that are not being considered, particularly with the cleaning element.
Yes.
I mean, we've all been in Ubers enough to see that they can get kind of messy. And I don't know about you, but I've been in at least one Uber where it's a late Friday night and things get pretty hairy and nasty, like,
Yeah.
That's not something that you would not want unmonitored.
No,
Right?
it's going to be a big issue. Obviously every Uber has a person in it that will know if something smells or something
Right.
is going on in that from that last customer, so they can
Yeah.
clean it immediately. But how do you know? How do you know what's going on in it? It's sort of, I think of like the subway or mass transit, that things happening all day and there's not like a cleaning crew coming through in 2 seconds. It'll just sit there all day. So how do you resolve that in a robo taxi? It's a big issue, and it might be a hindrance for adoption.
Yeah. So a couple of thoughts.
Yes.
On the cleanliness factor. One was there could be a camera in the car to monitor it. I don't know that would control behavior, right? People are going to be messy with no one there to like grab their hands. I just imagine they would throw their milkshake at the camera or something.
That's right. People aren't going to do what they do.
Yeah. Second thing was, in public restrooms, sometimes they'll have the grade. You can give it a grade as you're exiting as to the cleanliness level.
That's true.
That could loop back to the previous rider.
That's right.
But then there's also an issue with that you don't know whether it was the previous rider necessarily. But I don't know if you enforced it in some way to make sure that everybody selected the cleanliness of the car after their ride, or even like when they got in and when they got out, then you may be able to, I don't know, bring it back to the individual rider, but that seems difficult in many ways.
But it is a sort of the honor system that people if you go into it and it's messy, they'll definitely report it if that's asked right away in the app. So you're not tipping the driver. Instead of the tip of the driver, it's more of rate the ride, right? Like condition of the car, what happened to it, and then also did anything happen? Like, is it messy now? In a sense, not blaming them.
Yeah.
Because there's really no way to have a sensor in there to see. I mean, you have the camera, but someone would have to really be monitoring that, I would think. Or you'd have, you can't sense that there's something thrown on the floor or left there. And I don't think there's an odor detection sensor to smell if something's going on in the Robotaxi at that point. Especially since it's your car, you don't want it that messed up. The same way an Uber driver doesn't want it messed up. They clean it right away.
Or even a taxi driver, right?
Like even a taxi driver
messing up the back of their car. And well, you think of trash is one thing,
Yes,
but then there's like actual bio fluids, maybe,
that's right.
like especially during COVID, I think it would be a major issue. I don't
It
think
would be a
anyone would
major
ride
issue.
in one.
I would say
Um,
the one difference between a taxi in a sense in this, and it's more like a Uber, is that each person who gets in the car, we know who it is
right.
in a sense. So if there is a camera or something, we know who is being recorded at that point, and the person would know they're being recorded. So they're less likely to do stuff. Things will happen, but it's not as anonymous as public transit or even a taxi, that the taxi driver doesn't know who it is and they don't
Yeah.
care what they're doing to
Yeah.
it.
It's like, yeah, with Uber, you're hailing it via your phone, you have an account.
Yes,
I'm sure that there's people who have fake accounts out there.
that probably
Um,
do, but I think it's a fraction. And I think on Uber they can rate
I'm
you.
not really banking on this honor system though. Um, Especially when the cost comes down so low that theoretically no one owns cars and just everybody's riding in these, right?
Yes,
So
yeah,
um then I mean it's almost to the extent of like public transportation, and
that's
people
right.
don't really respect public transportation all that
They
much.
don't. They don't.
You
No,
know,
it's
and there's
definitely, yeah.
people in there that are doing stuff that really shouldn't be done on public transportation.
Yeah. So, I mean, what's the solution? The only solution is sensors to know it needs to be serviced right away. Um, or then you wait until some person gets into it and reports the vehicle that
Yeah.
it smells or there's stuff thrown around.
Right, right. It smells or there's crap on the floor or whatever.
Yeah. So
You
that's
know,
the only way.
it brings up another point as we talk through this, that what if it's not trash? What if it's someone's purse or something that they didn't intend to leave? You need a lost and found system. So I mean, if your Cybertruck Robotaxis going from point A, picks up someone, drives them to point B, they leave their purse in there,
Uh-huh.
and then it drives to point C. How do you stop rider at point C getting in and taking the purse with them? And that's going to come down to an honor system too, right?
That's an honor system. Unless, again, if there's a camera, then they know they took it. We know who took it because we could go back to it, so they're less likely to take it. Cameras do stop a lot of things, and maybe there's a um, area in the car you could deposit wallets and purses and phones.
Oh, I see what you're saying, like a lost and found cubby.
Yeah, lockbox in some way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, let's take it to the extreme. Parent driving from point A to B forgets to take their kid out of the car at point
Yep.
B, and Robotaxi rolls on to point C.
That's pretty big. Yes.
Yeah. That would be an issue. So you would have to have some sort of hotline, I guess, being manned in order to take concerns, take concern calls.
Yes, I think it's a combination of a hotline, like a real concern, whether your kid or your wallet is left in there, someone you want to call it right away. Although most of it probably could be done through an app. If your kid is in there, you definitely want to call someone. But if otherwise, other things, I think if you just in the app, you could report that immediately. You probably want to call. You're right. So there's a hotline centralized, and would that be run by Tesla or by each dispatcher in a sense? If you have a fleet of just one car or 20 cars, is that your responsibility?
Right.
I don't know. That's a big one.
I don't know. There's a bunch as I think through it, and I was watching that video today, and he mentioned some of them, right? So first off, where do you store these?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they run night and day, but you still have to recharge them. And like he said, we don't have a snake charger to just come out of the truck and plug in.
That's right.
So someone would have to plug them in on a daily basis.
Yes. So it's either the owner or it's if they just have the one or two, but if there's a fleet, it becomes like any dispatching service where they'd have to hire someone to do it. I mean, in a sense,
Right.
it's like a self-storage facility where you have to, like, there's nothing really that goes on there, but you still need someone to, and some of them are run, smaller ones are run remotely completely with cameras, but you usually need someone on site just to manage it. And I imagine it's
Right.
the same thing. You have to have someone around in the geography, geometric area to make sure that that zone is taken care of.
Yep.
But then if the vehicle goes beyond that, say someone takes a ride for 50 miles away, you have to work with other dispatchers.
Hmm. Yeah, good point. I mean, yeah, if you're going a long distance,
Yeah.
um, I don't know, there'd have to be limits on that.
Yeah.
But you also you need the charging infrastructure at this central location,
Yeah.
right?
Build
You
that
you
out.
probably need some sort of maintenance garage,
Yeah.
right? Just for minimal maintenance required. I mean, there will be some, even if
Correct.
it's just tires.
And
Uh,
these are all good things. Like I think we're getting a checklist for a dispatch operator of what they need to do. I was thinking
Interesting.
that the what happens in scenarios with the customer if you get a flat tire and they're stuck in
Yeah,
the
that's
Robotaxi.
where I was going next. So what happens if there's a breakdown
That's right.
in one of the cars?
Yes.
I mean,
So
these
you
things
need
are
to,
now running 24/7,
yep.
which is fine. I think they can handle it, but somewhere along the line, there's either going to be a breakdown or a crash of some sort.
That's right. And you need to have a, I would say at all, I would think if I was dispatcher or something, you'd always have to have a very standby car that if,
Yeah.
in case something goes wrong, that car could be deployed to pick that person up and get them to their spot. And they don't have to wait around. But someone else would have to go out and fix the flat.
Yep.
So you can't, the real world still exists that you need to do, as you said, maintenance and service.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, I'm still a believer in the idea, but I don't think it's as simple as we dream it to be.
That's
You
right.
know, there's a whole lot of logistics and contingency planning that would have to go into place
So
for it to work.
let me ask this then. If I mean, we're thinking of it because of that Matt Smith video where he's a dispatch operator with 21 vehicles with Cybertrucks. I don't understand why Cybertrucks, but
Yeah, well, I'd
um,
like to talk about that too, but
yes. But the on the other side, the way the plan is laid out is that you can lease out, you could send out your Tesla to be a Robotaxi individually.
yeah.
So I think the plan, or at least it was laid out, that each person is just an operator of one. So I think a big service potential or opportunity is to be the centralized, to be the service person for hire who manages it for all the individual owners. That the taxis go to your central place to charge and you manage
Oh,
it for everyone else.
so wait, you're saying that, so in the case of Matt, he already said he would get 21 Cybertrucks.
For himself. So he's going to be his own dispatcher. He's going to have to run his own service. That's the
Yeah.
perspective he was taking.
Yeah.
But
And
if
so I think
you,
if you're an individual car owner,
yes,
you would just partner with Tesla to enter into their network and they could utilize your car.
they could utilize your car, but who's going to handle if Kevin McCabe, put your car on the network, your car, someone threw up in your car. There's a flat.
Mm,
The car is about to run out of charge and it's 50 miles away from your house.
yeah,
How are all the scenarios we just went through? How are those going to be taken care of? You would have to, I don't think Tesla's going to do that for you. So
I
I think
do.
you'd have to go, you do? You don't
Yeah,
think you'd undergo a contract with, hire a local area service that manages, will take care of all your Robotaxi
I
needs?
don't think you would have to do that. That's just the way I envision it. I would think that Tesla would take care of that. They would build out the network, provide the insurance, right? It's like
Yes.
now it's our technology driving this
Yeah.
car. And also our manufacturing
Okay.
that
But
built the car.
uh-huh.
So we'll charge you if you want to enter in the network and reap the financial benefits of it.
Yes.
Then we will charge you, I don't know, call it a subscription cost,
Uh-huh.
um,
And then
to be a part of that network that
so then
includes coverage of insurance and maintenance and cleaning and
so
all
they'll
that.
hire out local companies or hire their own employees to manage each area.
Yeah, I could see that. Like
Uh-huh.
like Tesla stations around town,
Yes.
actually, heck, replace gas stations, right?
Or replace
So
and car repair stores. They're gonna have a lot less to do.
yeah, totally.
Uh,
So then all your gas stations essentially become Tesla stations that for the network, they go around, they can charge, they can get repair, they can get cleaned. You'd still have an employee or two working in the gas station,
yeah.
but it's now a Tesla station.
They would own it. They wouldn't just license it
Yeah.
out. They wouldn't tap
Yeah.
into the network that's out there
Now
already.
maybe they would be franchised like gas
Maybe.
stations.
I would think it would be.
I think we just solved the problem right there.
I think it'd be a lot easier for them to have franchises. They don't have to deal with because if someone has ownership, they'll take care of it more rather than just being a company store with employees. I think that's
Yeah.
I personally
I
think that would be
I'm
that way.
still skeptical on the idea that a Tesla owner would be willing to put their car into the network, and have other people ride in it. I mean, look,
I
I guess
take the
the
opposite point
point
of view
that,
on that. An argument.
yeah, I think the point that people make on that is at a certain price point, at a certain revenue point, there's no one who would deny it. Like they'd be crazy not to
Uh,
put their car into the network and reap the
yes,
benefits of it.
yes. I think it's the same thing as buying a vacation home and deciding to rent out your vacation home for most of the summer,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
you
that's a
only
good
get to use it
analogy.
for 2 weeks rather than getting to use it all the time because basically the vacation home is paid for.
Hmm.
So you're willing to deal with the wear and tear. You're willing to pay a management company. You're willing to uh, give up people not touching your stuff for the access to it, to your car, to your home, but also getting it for free
Yeah.
and making income on it on top of that.
Yeah.
So I
And
think a lot
so,
of people will do it rather than it's one less expense. It's a big expense.
yeah, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it's going to take some transition to get there, I think. I don't know. For me, that is the reaction that I get when I talk about this with non-Tesla people. Right?
Yes.
Is like I would never just let someone ride around in my car. That's like gross. It's crazy. Um,
Yes.
even if they're making money, I mean they're not fully thinking through it, right? But at the same time, I try to, as a response to that, I say, okay, well, if you're not willing to let it be a robotaxi that, goes around and moves people around in it, what about it running chores for you during the
Huh?
day?
That's
And
pretty good.
and that's when like they'll admit to that, like that'll convert them right there.
Yeah.
Hey, you go to work, send your Tesla over to Target to pick up detergent, send it to the dry
It's awesome.
cleaners to pick up your shirts,
Yeah.
send it to, I mean, groceries is a little bit different, but if you put some sort of cooler in
That's right.
the frunk or
That's a great
something.
idea. That's great.
Yeah.
So it goes around, it gets rid of all those other services really, except for the collecting, the picking, but they're not delivering
Yeah,
it.
but I mean, even at this point, the picking is done by other employees.
Yeah, they're not the
Like
deliverers. Yeah.
we don't even go to the grocery store
Yeah,
anymore, right?
same here.
I
Yeah.
mean, or Target or convenience stores or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just everything is either delivered or brought out via pickup.
That's right.
And so I could definitely see a Tesla doing or a Robotaxi, call it, doing chores for you.
Yes.
So whether you want someone in the car or not, or feel uncomfortable with that, it could still really provide value to you.
So I think there's that. So the chores is a big portion. So there's a segment. Well, probably everyone would want to do that. I mean, you have to pay another fee, but it's worth it. Like for each company. Well, a lot of stores actually, there might not be a fee. You just send it to the store and they fill up your car. They're
Yeah.
glad you're a customer.
Yeah, it's the same way that it
that's
works now,
that's
picking up
right.
curbside, right?
Yeah,
You just park in the spot
pull
and
up and that's it.
they come out and
And there's
put
no
it in the
food
trunk.
delivery anymore. It's just go to the store, they put your food in, and you come home. It comes
Yeah.
home.
And then also, I mean, this one got Lindsay too, was okay, well, what if we could put the kids in the car,
Yes.
right? You wake up, you're in your pajamas, you're making breakfast, we're shooing them out the door to get on the bus. Okay, or they don't need to take the bus anymore. They get in the Tesla, it drives them to school, they get dropped off, and then you have it, run errands for you.
That's right. It's just working for you all day.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's just, even if it's not making money for you,
Yes.
it's a huge convenience factor. It's a time saver.
It is
for you.
And I think it'll work both ways. You could have it run errands, but also your dry cleaner would probably just send out a Robotaxi to go, or not Robotaxi, just like a self-driving car to deliver all the dry cleaning to everyone's house during the day. But then again, you need someone to take it out of the car.
So that it's that last foot.
All
for the last foot.
Then you get the drone to no.
Well, hey, I still am convinced that if you solve self-driving, then you've essentially solved vision, like robotic vision.
Yes.
Which then just busts it wide open, the use cases, and then you just need, then you have a system that is comprehending the world around it and able to maneuver around it. Now you just need the robotics, like beyond a car,
just an arm to drop it in something.
Yeah, I mean, you have your robot is the car in this case.
Yes.
But why not just take the FSD software, slam it into some different type of robotic structure, and it can equally as easily move around town.
That's right. It can move and then lift things out and just do the errands for you.
Yeah.
That's it's pretty good.
So I think we just kind of
solved it all.
We talked through the problems, and I think
yes, there was one of the things I was going to say with the oh yes. So here's another component thought of ideas to get people to do it. So if you were offered, you go online to buy a Tesla. You're like, I'm buying a Tesla. And then it says, okay, you could buy the Model 3 for, $35,000, say. Great. Or would you like to sign up for our Robotaxi network? Like, would you like to lease your car out when you're not using it? And then you'll basically get your Tesla for free. It's either 35,000 or free, but you have the option just do it for a month to see if you like it. If you don't, then you'll pay the full fee, but you could try it, or a reduced fee for trying it. But if you like it, you can continue, but at least you could test it out. So you're not committing. It's not a all or nothing. You could try it.
Yeah.
See if you are comfortable with it. If not, then you can, you could revert back just to buying the car for the regular price. I think a lot of people might take the offer.
So are you saying that you would, if you were willing to put it into the network, you would get the car for free and you wouldn't have to pay the monthly payment on it?
That's right.
Well, you'd have to have a contract to say, okay, well, you get it for 50% of the month and we get it for the other 50%, or some sort of percentage breakdown.
You can say
right?
what hours you need it or something, and you can't
Huh.
go over this or something.
Well, I don't know that you could get it for free, but definitely I could see like a reduced car payment if you're willing to
Uh,
do that.
well, I mean, I think the model is that you could make money on it, really, normally. So basically, it's free because you're supposedly make money on it.
Hmm.
But and then you'd have to get used to not having access to the car at any time you want. I mean, there are certain times where
Yeah.
you just can't have it, which is an inconvenience. But
Yep.
at the same time, I might say, well, I can either go out tonight or just have my car roam around while I watch a movie at home.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. So I think there's options here. I don't know that any of those hurdles that we just listed that we ran into a dead
Yes.
end with.
Yeah. So it
That's why I
might be
like
hard.
talking
It
through
still
this
might be a
stuff.
hard sell for the Robotaxi ownership model. I mean, there's the model also where just Tesla owns them all and everyone's using them, but the model where people don't buy the car and send their car out, that uh, might not be a feasible option
Hmm.
for most people.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the models were betting on that.
I think that there's gonna have to be a lot of traditional consumer behavior that's gonna have to break with this, right?
Yes.
The ownership, the sharing, um, that not to mention the FSD element of it. But I do ultimately think that people will come around to that pretty quickly once they see how much safer it is than their own selves driving it and how convenient it is. Why would
Yes.
I why would I rather drive my car than sit in it and watch Netflix?
Yeah.
You know?
That's right.
So so what are your thoughts on why he was doing this with the Cybertruck? Was it
I
just because of the $100 reservation that he said was basically a call on the Cybertrucks,
I don't get
or
it
on
because
this
there was
Robotaxi
also a
network
hundred
idea?
dollar reservation for the Model 3. So it's not as
I
if
thought it was a lot higher than that.
well, initially it was. So maybe this he had it you might be right. So maybe at the time the Model 3 $100 offer was gone. But it was for Model 3 for a long time was a $100 reservation before it came out.
Okay.
So it might be the same scenario that it was the Model 3 was already out, and I guess he just did it to reserve them. It was no skin
Yeah.
off his back. You can always give it up.
Right.
So maybe that's why he did it. That was the only vehicle he could do it with. But it seems
But
like
it
a
also
very
sounded
strange
like,
choice for a robo taxi. If a big truck pulls up, I'm like, what the hell?
how's this good for the environment?
Yeah, I mean, you ever like call it
Very
Uber
much.
and a pickup pulls up?
Yeah, I mean that had me rethinking what I thought the Cybertruck was. Like maybe it's roomier inside than what I thought it was. I'd seen at least one video, but it's been a
It-
while.
I mean, I've been in pickups where it's, four
Four
doors
doors,
and it's just
even like
huge.
I think there's some even with three rows. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe it's more of an SUV than a
might be. I don't know.
pickup truck.
I don't know. And then no
But I
one
do
actually,
think to your point that there's like if I were gonna choose one of those cars to come pick me up, other than just like maybe one time I would choose a
uh,
Cybertruck. Beyond
novelty.
that, I'd be
No,
like, no, just send a Model 3,
Model
whatever.
3. Yeah. It's like a Hummer showing up for picking you up.
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
exactly.
although they said we don't know what the final model, the final cyber truck is going to look like. I know Elon Musk said that he hates it when auto companies show you the really cool model, the prototype, and then when the actual car comes out, it looks much worse. Uh, so he said he wants all his prototypes to look cool, but the actual final one looks much cooler. So
Really?
yeah.
I
So I don't
mean,
know. No
I
one
don't know
really
if you could
knows what it looks
make it
like.
look
I know.
I don't think you make it look much cooler than the prototype of the
It looks pretty
Cybertruck,
cool. It
but
looks kind of crazy though at the same time. But yes, it
yeah.
should be interesting.
But also weren't they saying that with the $100 reservation, you also lock in the FSD at a certain price point?
I might have missed that. I'm not sure. Could
Hmm,
be.
I'll have to look at
It's
that.
worth it.
Yeah.
And the FSD, I know we were both confused. We discussed prior to this that why would the FSD price be higher when the full
Right.
FSD goes out, the real FSD, not the
Right.
current FSD.
Right. Right.
I don't get why that price goes up over time if there's less for the consumer to do. It's if it's safer, I should say.
Yeah. It's not adhering to a Wright's law model there.
No, it
I don't know
should
that
be unless it's a lot more software and you're paying for all their work. I don't it's just literally just
yeah.
software. So I don't get why it's more expensive.
Yeah. Now, I mean, it will get better with time, and I could see with every additional decimal point
Yes.
of perfection,
Yes.
then you could charge more for it. I get that, but I also think there's going to be headwinds against that, or balancing elements of competition and yeah, just more people having it that's
Yeah.
going to reduce the cost of it.
You'd think that you'd want more out there, but who knows what they're really going to do in the end. I mean, they don't have it out. So I don't know if they're really going to charge more for it or less. That's what I've heard, but I haven't actually heard Tesla say that. Maybe they have, and I didn't realize. Um, I think the AI day might reveal quite a bit to see what the
Yeah.
direction is going to be with. I'm sure AI day is a lot of it's going to be centered on full self driving.
Yeah.
It, it's going to be interesting.
I mean, it's got to. What else?
It's got to.
The,
And
the,
now that
the Dojo super
yes,
neural network and
yes, there's a
supercomputer.
dojo. It'll be interesting to see what that does. Will it compete with Palantir? Who knows? It was
Palantir just
interesting.
made an announcement today that they were partnering with an AI company.
Oh, really?
It negatively hit their stock too. I forget what it's called. Started with a C. I don't remember
Negatively,
what the
then.
company was.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on. Microsoft
Yeah.
purchased that. Yeah. It's a big
Pretty sure
Microsoft
we could stay
purchase.
here all night long
I
talking
know.
about interesting stuff.
Well, I guess speaking of the full self-driving confidence, it was I don't know if you saw the rest of Elon's tweet earlier that it's a matter of
Yeah.
nines now. So
Yeah.
he not so they said on the highway they're already at the 99.99999%.
Yeah.
So the
Just with
highway full
autopilot.
self-driving works on it. Like it's already at a level that's much better than human performance on the highway. So they're just testing
Yeah.
out city streets now. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
I'm telling you, just uh, full disclosure, neither of us are Tesla owners, right? Yet.
Yes, that's right.
But I've taken a test drive and it works.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't 100%, but it merged into, this was just autopilot, but it merged into traffic on the highway,
Yeah.
and did just fine on the highway.
Now, what
So,
I'd be interested to hear, just disclosure for each of us. Why are you not a Tesla owner right now?
well, I have certain circumstances that are limiting that given my move and stuff coming up.
Yes, that's true.
Um,
That's a big
but
factor.
I'm a Prius owner,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, it's kind of
On the
like
way.
almost there, but not quite. Um, I'd say that it was really just the price point for me. I just couldn't afford one, right?
Yep.
Back when I got the Prius probably 5 years ago or
Oh
something.
yeah.
And
They're
I
expensive.
don't think we were nearly as far along in terms of the autopilot and the FSD and all that. And
yes.
And there's the cost of the charging station at home too. I was having a hard time comprehending that, how that would all work. I'd say I have a better understanding of that now, and the charging stations are growing more and more. In fact, I was just looking today at charging stations in Ireland, and there are quite a few. So, despite
I think they're ahead of the US on that.
maybe, I mean, like probably like per capita or per square mile,
Yes.
there's probably more. I mean, it's a pretty small country, but I I think I was telling you, I mean, I'm just adamant that that's the next car. There's just like, I can't accept anything else.
No,
If
nothing. I
we
can't.
have to get some sort of gas guzzling ice car, I'm just gonna drive it miserably. Like I would rather just walk.
Put your
And
orders in. I mean, the Berlin Gigafactory, get it from
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Um,
And there's credits over there. I was looking that
yes.
up too.
So, well worth it. I mean, I know for me, I've my two reasons are not one. I have a car that's been fully paid off for a long time, so it's
Yeah,
it's hard for me to legitimize uh, switching out something I'm not paying anything for except for maintenance. So
right.
that's difficult, and gas, of course. But eventually I'll get there. And the other reason is I know that Tesla is undergoing a big reboot in a sense for the Model 3 and X and Y, sorry, Model Y. So I'd rather have the next generation of batteries next year.
Yeah, it's a good point. In fact, you know, when I was bugging Lindsay about this, she was, you know, I ended up saying, well, eventually people won't want cars anyway. And she was like, so why would you even buy one then? You know? But I do think, yeah, like whether it's a price point, the price point coming down, or just the quality and, you know, having the 4680 cells in there and having the FSD
Yep.
at a certain price point and all the hardware in there. I mean, I was like actually looking at used Teslas, but I don't think I would want to buy one that's a few years old. You know, it's
No,
like
no. This
it's almost
technology
like buying
changes
an
so
old
much.
iPhone or
It
something.
really is. It's like buying, you can buy an old car. It doesn't that the regular ICE car doesn't change that much, but the
Right.
definitely the Tesla is like buying an old iPhone. It is.
Yeah. Become a problem. I don't know. Maybe
It could
not. I
be.
mean, as
Or a
long as they
reason to
don't,
upgrade.
right.
But the resale value for your used car will go down, I think.
For a used Tesla.
Yeah. I think for one, because the technology's
That's
older,
right. Yeah.
and also because I think the batteries only have so many charges in it. And they have a lot of charges, but over time, it's only like I think 1,000 or so 10,000 charges. I should
Mm,
look that up. I forgot what it was, but it doesn't charge forever to the same level. The same way
yeah.
iPhone charge uh doesn't charge as well over 5 years out after the phone
Yeah.
is purchased.
Yeah, it's
So
amazing. By the time like two generations of iPhones down the line, your phone starts like getting real
real,
glitchy and
that's right.
the
They'll
battery sucks. And
yes. So they'll start saying, "Oh, the new update for the new Tesla's out. They must be throttling
well,
back the old Tesla."
so that's what I'm saying. Like that could present a problem in terms of ownership because it's one thing to say, all right, I got to replace my iPhone. And if I'm going to buy that, it's $1,000. Let's just say, you know, even with someone just buying it straight up $1,000, it's still only
Yeah,
$1,000. You're talking about like $1,000 versus $50,000, or at best case $25,000.
yes.
That's a pretty big difference. You're not going to have people saying, "Well, I guess I got to get the new Tesla."
Yes.
You know, I don't know that they're going to do that unless it is like phones now, right? Where you lease the phone.
Yep.
So you lease the phone, and
Turn it in.
then at the end of a certain time frame, you have the opportunity to buy it.
That's right.
Well,
You
that would
buy it
work.
or like the iPhone forever, Tesla forever, where every 2 years you could hand in
Yeah,
your phone. So you always get the latest Tesla every couple of years.
man, I love that idea.
And then they just recycle the whole old one. That's
No,
it. We
right now.
solved it.
See, that's why it's great talking about it.
I think that
No
was pretty
longer a
good.
problem.
No longer a problem. So, I guess to recap, we have a conundrum with the cyber taxi repairs in a sense, unless Tesla owns the whole network. We're not seeing a lot of promise
Yep.
for individual licensing out. And in terms of older Teslas, maybe they do have a model that you trade it in, or you always get
Yeah.
a new one if you do own it.
Yeah.
So that was on our mind today. We were trying to figure out what would be the solution. It was good to talk about it.
It was really good to talk through it, because I definitely will say that going into this call, I thought that a lot of these were serious problems, and now I think that there's solutions to each one of them that we went through.
That's
They're
right.
not always easy solutions, but they're definitely, you get creative with it, you can come up with solutions. So
That's true.
it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
When the Tesla logistics team watches this,
I love it.
they have their answers.
I love it. And the thing I'm going to be dreaming about tonight are all the gas stations being gone and they're all just Tesla stations.
That's it, with plants. It's going to be good.
Yeah. The future's looking bright. All right. Well, I guess why don't we wrap it up here?
Yeah. We'll be back more. The sort of, you can see it's a different structure for this episode. So going forward, we're going to have more of a discussion around one or two topics. We feel it's a little more fruitful for you and definitely fruitful for us. So we're looking forward to it. You should see a lot more of us going forward.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Bye.
See ya.